and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and this one's exciting because it has to do with the new werewolf pack. So I decided that I wanted to create this like rundown home for a werewolf. It has one bedroom and one bathroom, and it is located on that starter home lot inside of Moonwood Mill. So that would be the new Moon Shack lot. And it came out to 34,797 simoleons. So it's a little pricey, not quite a starter home, but I think it's absolutely worth it in my opinion. I wanted it to be kind of industrial, kind of run down. Maybe it was like an old like shop or factory or something like that. So I use a lot of the rundown like roof and tile and wallpaper, anything I could find, that's what I used. And I did make it slightly like a loft upstairs, so the only thing upstairs is the bedroom and then that nice balcony. And the bedroom like has a little bit of an overlook into downstairs into the living room. And I actually in the basement added in like a werewolf space, so maybe that's where your sim goes when they turn into a werewolf and they can tear stuff up, things like that. It also has that entrance to like the werewolf tunnel, and it also has some workout equipment down there. So just a lot of the stuff that came with the pack. I tried to stick to as much as possible the pack. Of course, the pack didn't come with like kitchen stuff or bathroom stuff, so I had to use other things for that. I actually ended up using for the bathroom a lot of the wooden stuff. I think a lot of it was like an off-the-grid kind of build yourself kind of stuff. And I thought it actually added a lot of character. And it did take me a minute to kind of figure out exactly how I wanted to do the floor plan, because I wanted to do a loft, but then when I put the balcony in, it kind of changed how I wanted to do things. So I swapped things around, and it did the thing where when I was creating the loft, it made my roof clip into the house. So I had to make some alterations. And I was going to start by using a ladder, but then I ended up using stairs because I had stairs go upstairs and downstairs. So those are right next to each other. There is also an office space in here with a computer. I used like an older looking computer because I thought that would work well with this theme. And the outside of the build ends up just having a lot of like trash and overgrown plants. I did go into debug and try to pull out a lot of that stuff from this pack in particular, including like a really tall tree in the backyard. And honestly, all the trees that came in debug for this pack are huge. I don't know if you've gone through them, but they are so large. You could really make a fantastic forest with this pack, which I guess makes sense for this world. And I actually, when I was taking screenshots, I was really excited. I actually created a werewolf and put them in the build. So I'll have some screenshots at the end with not only just the build, but also with a werewolf in it. And I thought that was really neat. And I haven't actually gotten a chance to play with the werewolves very much, so I need to actually do that to understand a little more about them. But I do know, like I said, they tend to go into, I think it's a fury, and then they end up destroying things. And so I guess it kind of makes sense that your werewolf is living in a rundown space because they're going to destroy things. I assume maybe as they progress, they may learn how to control some of that and maybe not destroy things, in which case then you could like upgrade and start replacing things. But I do know they scratch up a lot of furniture and like to destroy things. So this is me trying to find some plants, vegetation to go here. And honestly, I really love a lot of the vegetation that came with this pack. Like, I feel like I want to use it a lot. And if it's in debug, right, that also means it is cost effective, which is really nice. And I use the planter that I love from this pack. It is one of my favorite planters now. And if you watched my overview of this pack with all of the items in it, that is one of my favorite items that came with it. So if you haven't already seen that, I suggest checking that out if you want to see some more of the items that came with this pack and my honest commentary on those items. Some items I like, some items I did not like so much. But anyways, kind of back to this, is basically like a woohoo bush in the back, is effectively what it seemed like to me. And we also had like this cow skull, the cow plant skull, like, and I don't know, I just thought it might be interesting to have that in the front yard, and just some like trash. And honestly, there's like not a ton of room, but your sim should be able to like walk around, because they should be able to walk around all of the debug stuff. And then like I said, I was thinking about putting the tunnel entrance like outside of the house, but then I ended up putting it in the basement. And at first I wasn't necessarily planning on putting a basement in, but then I was like, that would be perfect for this build. And I think it worked out really nicely. And I put like a werewolf only door on the entrance to the basement, which I believe means only werewolves can go through there. So it's kind of like having a secret hangout spot for your sim and maybe their friends. I had thought about using like a secret door to the basement, but then that door works just as well. Like, might as well use it. And I tried to use a lot of the cracks and scratches that came with the pack. And I also ended up delving into the vampire pack as well, which I guess kind of makes sense. It had a lot of that like destruction that you could put on walls and floors. So I ended up using a lot of that as well, which I feel like is kind of funny since, there seems to be a feud between the vampires and the werewolves. And so this is us actually putting stuff in the basement. It's really simple. I put like a table down there. Maybe that's where your sims would hang out. I thought it would be cool too. Like you could possibly change that out for like one of the activity tables, like maybe for cards or Don't Wake the Llama or something like that to make it a more hangout spot. But that's just me kind of destroying the walls a little bit. And then I thought about putting that chair in there, but I do put that upstairs in the living room. And then I use these really cool chairs for this dining table. And then of course I had to put a vampire on the wall, the Claude picture, which I really like, is very thematic. And then I just kind of put some of the clutter from Debug on the table. From my understanding, that is like a rope that your werewolves can actually play with one another. And then you can see here, I actually cut out a lot of the back and forth I had of trying to figure out how to do the stairs and the ladder and everything like that. So this is the stair configuration we have, and that will be our living room. And then those two smaller rooms that you see right there are going to be the bathroom and the office. So they're kind of small, but I mean, it's all your sim needs, especially if you only have one or two living here. Off the top of my head, I thought maybe this was just like for one werewolf, but there is room for two, so you can most certainly have two here. And I wish we had a more rundown like door for inside of homes. I know that we have the wooden one that came with the pack, which I love. They wouldn't fit right where these two like white doors are, so I had to use those instead. I just felt like they were older, like the wooden look. I wish we had a more destroyed one. At least I didn't see one, but I definitely could have missed it. And then I thought about using this tub to get a shower in there, but it just kind of, I felt like impeded the window, so I ended up just using the bathtub only. And I think this may be the one that your sim can actually create. If they are actually doing woodworking, and then just putting in like a really simple toilet and sink. And I actually swap out the toilet for the other off the grid one, and then we just kind of keep it pretty simple, put more destruction on the walls. I did put a poster in here, like maybe that's just kind of the artwork. And then I do end up using the curtains that come with this pack. I feel like curtains is a very loose word. It is a window covering. It literally looks like a blanket that you just like pinned up and pulled back. And you know what? I feel like a lot of people have actually done that. I feel like I knew a lot of college students who did that, because honestly, curtains can be really expensive, especially curtain rods. Like, I don't know why, but like, why do they have to be so expensive? And then I was kind of back and forth on the flooring I wanted to use in the rest of the house. So I had that like torn up tile, which I used in the bathroom, in the kitchen, and then out on the balcony. But it was just so like overpowering. I felt like I didn't want to use it everywhere. So I ended up using this like distressed wood. And then I actually think I end up changing it out for like another wood. I thought about using carpet, but I don't know. Because I wanted this to be like an old rundown industrial kind of building, I felt like carpet just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So I ended up taking that out. And then I just kind of put a little bit of clutter in here. And I didn't like clutter it up a lot. Like, there's not a ton of stuff in here. I felt like that kind of went with the rundown vibe of the build, that you just don't have a lot of stuff in here. And then the whole first room is going to be the kitchen area. There's not necessarily a dining table. Of course, there's one downstairs, but there is bar stools. So there's room for like 3 sims to eat there. And of course, you can also have your sims eat in the living room on the couch. But I figured this was kind of nice, just like, just room for a couple of Sims to hang out. I don't put like a ton of stuff here either, but I do end up putting like an open cereal box, and those bar stools I think are also something your Sim can make in the game. And I love that plant that I just put over in the corner. I use it, I think, 2 more times in this build. I mean, first of all, since I was trying to focus on the werewolves pack, and so this was kind of one of the only plants that came with it, but I honestly really liked it. It just looks really eclectic, and like using cans and bags that you have around to put plants in, so I thought that was really neat. And then, of course, just putting stuff all over the floor, even like a water stain over by the fridge, and I put that as well inside of the bathroom. And then that doormat that I just put out there, like I thought that was so perfect. It literally looks like a wolf. I think maybe it's supposed to be a dog because I think it came with cats and dogs, but I was like, this looks perfect for a werewolf build. So I used that outside. And then we also do have gardening, so there is still ways for your Sims to, you know, have a bunch of hobbies. You can of course add in an easel or a chess table or whatever. There's so much room in this build because I didn't like put a ton of stuff in here. So you can choose what your werewolf would like to do. Of course, you don't have to use this for a werewolf. You can use it for any Sims you want to. And this is already up on the gallery, so you can check that out under my ID, Spice and Sprinkles, all one word. You can see it down in the description below. So you can download that and of course do whatever you want with it. And then I did go out and add some like vines to the outside. I was starting to use like green ones, but then I thought maybe it would be like dead vines, which I actually think I got out of the vampire pack. So again, I feel like they kind of go hand in hand, which, you know, makes sense. And then I did for that roof use a giant skylight, which I thought was really cool. And I just kind of add some more scratches and things, again, keeping it fairly simple in terms of items. And then I found that like grate looking thing. I don't remember what pack it's from, but it just felt really random and felt industrial. So it ended up here in the living room. And then I did pull in the exterior wood and put that as an accent wall, both in the living room and upstairs in the bedroom. And then I end up using the bookshelf that I love, love, love from this pack. It is going to be like one of my favorites, especially since it has some like plain wood swatches. I love it so much. And then I do end up using the gorgeous moon mirror that ends up actually by the stairs where I just put that clock. I do move that back over, and we use the like beat up mirror upstairs in the bedroom. But again, just like a nice place for your Sims to hang out, still plenty of room. And of course you could add more beds upstairs if you wanted to. I decided to leave it as like a double bed, and I actually used the bed from Eco Lifestyle, the one you can get out of Debug. I think it's the one maybe they can get out of a dumpster or something like that. So it's kind of scratched up and messed up, and then since your werewolf will probably do that anyways, so who knows, maybe this is also a dumpster diving werewolf. Like that could kind of be cool and make a lot of sense, like in terms of the way their house looks and things like that. And then just putting a ton of stuff all over the walls, just like it's been here a while, it's scratched, it's cracked, it's been beaten up. And then of course there's several places it looks like your werewolf has like punched the wall or hit the wall or something. And then upstairs we do end up just putting in, like I said, keeping it really simple, just like a bed, a nightstand, a mirror, and then one of the kind of rundown dressers that it may be base game, I cannot remember off the top of my head, but it is that dresser that is like, I know in Eco Lifestyle there's like a crooked version, like a broken one, which is actually out in front of this build as well. Just having some stuff lying around, and I actually wasn't sure whether the broken one actually was usable or not, so I opted for the one that wasn't broken, but it still looks a little rough around the edges, so I thought it worked really well here. And again, using the nightstand that you could make as your Sims have if they were doing the woodworking, which actually like adding in a woodworking table in this build would actually make a whole lot of sense, I think, because there's so much of that around the build. And then just adding in, I did put a little bit of trash up here, like maybe this is not the most cleanly Sim. And then I didn't even realize until I was doing this and trying to intentionally make like the walls messed up and everything, that in the, oh my goodness, I'm like totally blanking out, the Island Living pack, I was like the ocean one, the Island Living pack, it has like huge messed up spaces for walls, and I was like, this is perfect. So we do end up using it. I do size it down because it is so big. And it's just kind of overwhelming. And then I did add some clothes to that chair. Of course, you can take it off if your Sim has trouble using it, if you want to, but I just felt like it was a nice living like touch. And so there's that piece of like just destruction that I sized down a little bit. And we just kind of add a little more clutter here and there and just some paperwork and over in that corner. And then this is actually getting near the end of the build, so I've got some awesome screenshots coming for you. If you have any build ideas, be sure to comment that down below and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye everybody.